This thing slaps. Right, first proper drive. I have been out and about in it. I know I've had some teething issues like the bottom ball joint and stuff, but hopefully that's all sorted now. And we can go for a bit of a spin and see if there are any major issues. So should be able to start. That's good news. Get gears. Now I know second gear is it's nearly there. It's broken, but it's not 100% broken because I drove it without oil. Something's going wrong with that passenger side because I go over it like that and I can hear it. And I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, but anyway, we're going to go for a spin because it seems to last a bit longer. It seems to last a while, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. I'm going to turn my headlights on because I'm a good boy, and hopefully it's not too shaky in here that the cameras are all over the place. So where to go? Yeah, there's something definitely rattling underneath. I don't know what it is though. Seems to be whenever I go over a bump, and it's something to do with both front wheels. I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, other than that, drives pretty smooth. It's not very quiet, but I never expected it to be quiet. It's actually quite quiet in here with the windows up and stuff, but you can still hear the engine. You can hear a whiny gearbox because, you know, some idiot drove it without gearbox fluid. I've got an ABS light on. That's because I keep getting grease all over the... so the ABS on the driver's side is so on the front even the well, first before I speak about that, let's get it up the hill. All right, that's quite fun. Yeah, so the ABS light is on because the brake light warning is on as well because the ABS sensor on the driver's side catches the bearing, or not catches the bearing, it looks at the bearing for the reference. I think the bearing was overpacked with grease, so it's spread out a little bit. It's got all over the sensor because when I clean that up, it yeah, the light goes off. So it's a problem with the front sensor. That means the back solution that I got is obviously working. I can see you shaking around like mad there. Hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah, it's not very well geared. I'm doing 70 and about 3,000 RPM, which isn't too bad, and it's not too loud in here either, which is pretty good. But it does feel like the engine is just ready to pull away. It seems fairly mundane at 70 mile an hour on the motorway. It's driving. It's working. It's working. I don't really know where to go now. I don't normally drive anywhere. Brakes are okay. I do get them fading quite quickly. Oh, I don't know if it's fade, but I can put my foot on the brake sometimes and it goes down to the floor a lot more than it probably should. But maybe that's a brake bleed issue. I don't know, to be honest, but yeah, let's roll the window down and we're on to the duals now. So let's open the exhaust up. There it goes. Okay, that's turn the window back up. That noise is not going to get old at all. It's got some pace to it. Fair play. I'm pleased with that. It's yeah, it's just remarkable. This car is really nice to drive. You know, I didn't think cramming a V8 into the front of it would be any good, or it'd make it really terrible. Now the rear suspension is terrible. I need to come up with a solution for that because it's not ideal, and obviously I've got to fix that rattling in the front. But I think for the most part, it drives quite well. Oh, you've dropped down a little bit. Let's. Oh, and it's cut off. This is the other issue I have with it. It's it keeps shutting down, especially when it's hot. But it does start straight back up. So it doesn't seem to be a major problem. It's probably just an idle control valve issue. I have no idea where I'm going on mine, but here's a good place to roll them windows down and do some pulls. Hopefully you will stay there and this thing slaps. Let's go again, is it? Oh. Oof. That's all I can say about that. Oh, that sounds terrible. What is it? I can't work out what it is. I really can't work out what it is unless it's the top mounts. But they're new top mounts, I think. I put new top mounts on. So I don't know. That there's your problem, bud. And I got another one for free on the other side. Right, having taken this out and driven it, it was making 0.5 bar of boost, so that's like a 1 psi, which is probably what the engine can do by itself anyway. I want to make roughly about 0.5, so I've got the boost gauge from inside the car, hooked up to this pipe into a T-piece. This end goes into the actuator on the turbo, and this end, I'm going to be blowing into with a very small amount of air from my compressor to try and get to try and maintain 0.5 bar. And as you can see, when I put pressure on it, the actuator actuates. So what I need to do is adjust the arm to give it enough preload so that it holds 0.5 bar as I as it goes boosting along. And I got to do it for this turbo, and I got to do it for that turbo. So that's what I'm going to spend an hour or two doing now, because this is all in the way. Okay, so all I'm going to do is tighten this up a little bit to put a bit more preload on it, and hopefully that'll be enough. Holding pretty much bang on 0.5 now. So I think that means it won't let me go over 0.5. I'm doing this by feel now. I'm watching the gauge and hoping that it moves at roughly 5, but I gotta do this really gently. So it's starting to move now. There you are, now it starts to move. That's probably perfect. Nice. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, and hopefully it will all be okay. If it isn't, rip. Let's put that split pin back in. Okay, now we do the same on the other side. Oh, no. Guess I better get a new clip. Right, take two at this filming lark. I'll just check that you point at me. There you go. So last time I made the rookie mistake of going out with no batteries in the cameras or the phones. So we're going to try again. We're going to go back to we're going to go to my little spot and well, give it the beans once it's warmed up. Oh, you can hear that gearbox, it sounds horrendous. Yeah, it's been a few days since that last video, and I have made some changes. One of the changes was the one of the bolts on the wishbones had come loose. So on one of my spanner checks that I've been doing, pretty much every time I take it out, I bring it back, do a spanner check, and yeah, on one of the spanner checks, one of the bolts had come loose, and the other one had actually fallen off on the other side. So put some new bolts on there, put new nuts on there. That sorted that out. I also had to modify the hubs a little bit. One of the washers didn't have enough clearance, so I've sorted that out. Now that all seems good. And I've also cranked the boost up a bit. So right now, when I floor it, it will only make 0.3 bar, but that's I'm happy enough with that for now. There goes one of the cameras. That's one camera down. Yeah, hopefully, basically it only does 0.3 bar boost. This engine will only do 0.5 anyway, because of the thin rods that I've got in here, and probably the fueling won't take anything more than about 7 psi anyway. So we're going to run with that for a bit. But it is more than quick enough. Yeah, it's plenty quick enough. I'm actually getting used to it now as well. I quite enjoy driving it. Yeah, I can't remember what I said a couple of days ago now, but driving along normally, and it's almost boring to drive. So yeah, it's quite an easy car to drive actually. I'm not a driver, I'm a builder, but even I manage with this one so far. Another thing I've done, you probably won't see it now because the other camera isn't running, but I've got the coolant gauge, the speedo, and the RPM counter working pretty much as they should now. So the speedo is GPS. It ain't the best. It gives me a good reference. It doesn't update very quickly, but it does. It does catch up eventually, and it does if you're going at a reasonable speed. Then it's got no problems basically. The RPM gauge, as I've mentioned in a previous video, it's just an RPM gauge stuck to the back, just like the speedo as well. But this one, oh, I should cut out again. This is the other problem. It cuts out when it's cold because of the, I think it's the idle control valve. But anyway, the coolant gauge. So I've just done the same. I put a coolant gauge behind it. I had to put a 100 ohm, I think it was, resistor, because it's just a generic coolant gauge. And instead of trying to plumb in the coolant temperature sensor that comes with it, I just used the standard temperature sensor on the engine, and it needed 100 and something ohm resistor to get it sitting in the right place on the dial. It's only a reference; it doesn't give me any numbers. As long as it stays within the middle of that and doesn't reach the hot part, then I know the engine is behaving and isn't overheating. So yeah, I've got coolant gauge. I've got RPM, which is just a normal RPM, universal RPM gauge, picks up the RPM signal off one of the igniters. Speedo is GPS, so it gets a GPS signal, and the fuel tank one works just because that's standard wiring, but it doesn't go all the way up. So it's currently stuck, even though I know I've got a full tank. It's currently stuck at 3/4, so I'm probably going to open that tank up and have a look at what's going on in there. I still got a rattle at the front. I can't tell whether it's exhaust or whether it's suspension. I don't think it's suspension because I've looked at all the suspension stuff. So it should be probably exhaust or engine of some kind. Maybe needs some more adjustment on there. See if I can improve it. I'm gonna turn around. Turning circle on it is horrendous. But that's another thing I need to work on. Let's open the windows. Let's get some of that noise. The noise it makes, the noise is amazing. So let's see how it goes. The noise it makes is outstanding. And the brakes work, which is good. The noise it makes. That noise will never get old. Willing to put a guarantee on that for anyone. Oh. So last time I done this, I know some of the camera came out shaky because of the mounts that I've got. Hopefully it isn't too bad this time, but I'll have to apologise. Gonna wait and see now. The crackling, it's amazing, absolutely outstanding. As I said before, this thing absolutely slaps. So I'm well pleased with this build. It's gone. It's taken a long time. It's been a pain. I've had some issues. I've still got some issues, but currently, stop wobbling. Currently, the outcome is pretty good. So what was I saying before I got distracted? What was I saying? Oh yeah. So for now, I think so. As you can see, it's quite difficult for me to get some footage, and I've still got plenty of jobs left to do in this car. So you know, there's still more of the build to come, and I've got problems to overcome. But it's essentially a working car now. I could hit the limiter on this all day. And then, you know, it's a normal boring car, just cruises along. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Right, I'm totally losing my track, but what did I want to say? I can't remember what I wanted to say. So yeah, it's difficult to get footage. Hopefully I'll get some footage for you. Some more outside footage of it being driven in anger at some point. For now, I'm going to continue the build in the garage. Obviously, I've got some ABS lights on that I need to work through. I've got an airbag light on. I think it's one of these seats. One of the connectors underneath isn't great, but we'll work that out. In the meantime, I'm just going to drive it around as well, just to get some just to find out if there are any more teething issues, like, you know, all these rattles that appear. And like, I already know I've got a slight leak on the fuel tank because one of the screws has wound its way off, and I think the aluminium in the tank is actually oh, can't find it, grind it. Yeah, the aluminium on the tank, as the thread has pulled through, so I'll have to put some sort of thread fixer in there. Obviously I've got that, I've got a rattle from the exhaust that needs fixing. This gearbox is absolutely, well, it's not dead, obviously, because it works, but I didn't help matters by driving it a few miles without any without any gearbox oil in it. Anyway, yeah, that rattling is really, I think that's exhaust. It's got to be exhaust. Anyway, all these sort of things I will fix over time. In the meantime, I think I'm going to call this episode now. Hopefully you enjoyed the 5 days of the Flexus. So yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next episodes. Don't know what I'm going to be doing next. I'm just going to enjoy it for the moment. I don't know when the next episode is going to be out. It's going on a rolling road in a week's time, so we'll actually find out what power it's making. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, it would already have gone on the rolling road, and I'll have a better idea. But there's lots of upgrades that need to be done on this. So yeah, it ain't finished yet. Normally this is where I say until next time, ciao. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to wind the window down and boot it. So it is. Oh. Amazing.